up on the list. She said, "Well."
Relaxing in a beautiful hotel in Paris with the cutest French boy smiling at you from across the pool is just perfectly splendid in every way. My personal assistant / best friend Lexi rushed towards me while holding a letter. She read it out loud. "Fancy a date on my yacht tonight? Meet me at 7 on the harbor." The boy across the pool winked at me. That night, I learned that his name was Pierre, and he treated me like a princess. But our splendid date was interrupted by a panicked call from Lexi. "Your dad's secretary called, and he's just sent the jet for us to leave right now." Ugh, he must have been mad because I'd been absent from school for a week now. I so didn't need school. I said my goodbyes to Pierre, who said he wanted to see me again, but I just smiled and left. Oh, hey there. My name is Blair, and I have an almost perfect life. I'm as smart as Einstein himself. There's only one little problem. I'm left. Oh, hey there. My name is Blair, and I have an almost perfect life. I'm as smart as Einstein himself. There's only one little problem. I'm dyslexic, but it's no big deal because I have Lexi to read everything for me. I used to be #1 in literally everything, but things took a wild turn when a foreign exchange student joined our class. Please hit that subscribe button before I tell you my whole story. The next day, my limo dropped Lexi and me off at our school, a very expensive private one, where only families with a net worth of at least $1 billion can attend. "Blair, watch out!" I screamed when I saw an angry dog charging towards me. What was it doing here? Pets aren't allowed. Francesca, my arch nemesis, picked it up while laughing at me. "Good boy," she whispered, but I heard it. This insecure brat always found a way to ruin my day. "Oh, hey, Blair. I'm giving out our newest luxury product, this $1 million perfume. This $1 million perfume for free. I thought you might need one. Thanks, Francesca, but I'd rather donate it to charity." The principal appeared and got angry when she saw her dog. "Our dog mansion with 10 floors is currently being renovated, so my baby needs to roll with me." Ugh, what a show-off. The principal shut her mouth when Francesca gave her a stupid perfume, too. In the middle of class, I suddenly forgot how to breathe when the most gorgeous boy that I'd ever seen walked in. "Everyone, I would like you all to meet Terrence, a foreign exchange student from Korea, and he will be with us for this school year." We were all speechless as we looked at him. Francesca immediately offered her seat, but Terrence just headed quietly to the back. Our math teacher then started the discussion and suddenly asked us to solve the area of a stadium on our tables. Such a no-brainer. The answer is, it's 69,963 square meters. We all turned to Terrence. 1,963 square meters. We all turned to Terrence like we'd seen a ghost. He'd answered before me. Like, how? After class, all the girls flocked around him, including Lexi. I tried to smile at him too, but he didn't smile back. What a snob. I snatched Lexi away from him and told her to cut it out. "Do that again and I'll fire you." "Oh, come on, Blair. He's literally perfect. He's like Lee Min-ho." "He's not my type." Terrence might have heard that because he turned to me, but so what? He snubbed me, and first impressions last. Every year, our principal holds an auction party, and this year, all the proceeds would be going to poor children in Africa. The last item to be auctioned was a beautiful pearl with a special history. It cost around $50 million. As expected, Francesca and I started the bidding battle. 100 million, 200 million, 500 million. 1 billion. Then the principal asked if anyone wanted to go any higher. Stop me, but I couldn't let Francesca win. 2 billion. 10 billion. Silence filled the room when a male voice joined in and said, $100 billion. Everyone turned to the back. It was Terrence again. He really was something else. The principal declared, "Wow, that's a new record. Sold." My eyebrows shot up when I saw Francesca offering him a handshake in a flirty way. Lexi said, "I think you two look better together." Ew, stop that, Lexi. He's a snob and only loves his phone. During our finals week, as usual, I took a special oral exam because of my reading condition. When the results came back the next day, the blood drained from my face. when I didn't see my name at the top spot. It was Terrence. He hadn't even been in our school a full year. Then Francesca appeared from nowhere and said, "Just accept the fact that you're a loser now, Blair." I asked Lexi to do some research on Terrence. I needed to know what was up with him. He seemed like the love nowhere and said, "Just accept the fact that you're a loser now, Blair." I asked Lexi to do some research on Terrence. I needed to know what was up with him. He seemed like the love child of Einstein and Bill Gates. One day, while I was rushing to the toilet, I bumped into him and tripped over. Jeez, his chest was as hard as a tree. I looked up at him and met his cold, brown eyes. I was expecting him to offer his hand, but the jerk skipped past me like I was trash on the floor. I'd never felt so humiliated. It was the first time a guy had ignored me. Lexi came to the rescue and helped me to my feet. He helped me when I tripped out of my helicopter yesterday. Sorry, girl, but you're not his type. Francesca's comment made me furious. Thank God Lexi calmed me down, or else. During lunch, Lexi told me that she'd finally finished her research on Terrence. He was a young CEO in Korea, and his company develops games and software. That's why he's always on his phone. So, he's a research on Terrence. He was a young CEO in Korea, and his company develops games and software. That's why he's always on his phone. So, he's a self-made billionaire. Interesting. I was on my way to our campus's art center one time, and I stopped when I saw a board ahead. It had some words on it. Francesca and her friends were right behind me, but I didn't want to ask her for help, so I tried to read it myself. It seemed to be saying something about a vacation. I ignored the sign and continued walking. Suddenly, the ground under me collapsed. Someone caught me right on time before I was buried alive. I looked up to see my savior. It was Terrence. He let me go and dusted his uniform off. Don't you know how to read? It says deep excavation ahead. I have dyslexia. Anyway, thanks for saving my life. Just be careful next time. My heartbeat was still going fast as I watched him walk away. A few days later, the principal announced the annual competition between private schools called the Battle of the Brains. I was so ecstatic when I was picked again to represent our school. I always aced it. The problem was, the competition would be all about teamwork, so I needed a partner. And Terrence was picked. Lexi came up to me and said, "Oh my God, I ship you both. This is going to be fun." I ignored Lexi's stupid comment and told Terrence to meet me in the music room. We needed to talk about the competition. While I was waiting for him, I started playing the piano. I couldn't finish the song because I forgot the keys. Just in time, he arrived and continued for me. We were so close to each other and it felt really weird. I was about to move, but the way he played was hypnotizing. I flinched when I felt a spark as our fingers touched. He looked down at me after he finished playing. "That's how you do it. I don't need piano lessons right now. We need to plan a strategy. Just focus on the spelling. Memorize the letters of the longest words, and we'll be fine. Focus on the spelling. Memorize the letters of the longest words, and we'll be fine. Don't underestimate me, Terrence. How about you? Are you going to study?" The dummy answered me with a poker face and left the room. Sometimes I really hated his guts and his gorgeous face. And seriously, he was so confusing. The competition day finally came and we were totally silent during the ride. He later fell asleep on my shoulder and I went stiff as a board. Should I move my shoulder or should I let him sleep in peace? The limo passed over a rough road which woke him up. He looked up at me and I immediately looked away. "Can you, scoot over? You're in my personal space." My heartbeat went back to normal when he moved. I was so nervous during the game, but as expected, we made it to the final round. Terrence won the versus round against another boy, and then it was my turn. I needed to win this so we would be the winners already. I was shocked when the announcer said that it was a spelling round. Oh no. Spell supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. Oh, spell supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. Terrence gave me an encouraging look. I focused and wrote down all the letters according to my memory. I felt like passing out from nervousness when I slowly raised my answer. Correct. I jumped around in happiness and found myself hugging Terrence. When I realized what I was doing, I immediately pulled away. He then patted my head and smiled at me for the first time. And I must admit, he looked even more gorgeous. You did great. Well, thanks for your advice. Lexi showed up to congratulate us. Oh my gosh, you guys were so good. You two should get married already. Ugh, Lexi and her random fangirling. Terrence smiled at me in the hallway the next day, and it made me feel something in my stomach. What a miracle that he wasn't wearing his headphones and holding his phone in front of his face. Suddenly, the girls started screaming. I went to see what was happening and was shocked to see Pierre in our school uniform. He was showing everyone my pictures that he took on his phone. To see Pierre in our school uniform. He was showing everyone my pictures that he took on his phone. Oh, finally, there's my girl. Pierre immediately walked up to me and kissed me on the cheek. What are you doing here? I told you, I wanted to see you again. I enrolled in your school just to be with you. I didn't know what to say. Pierre kept following me around and it bothered me. I wanted to turn him down, but I felt bad for breaking a nice guy's heart. Mademoiselle, come. I have a surprise for you. I told Pierre that I still had a class, but he grabbed my arm and was about to pull me outside when someone grabbed my other arm. It was Terrence. Come on, we're running late already. Everyone stopped in their tracks to watch. Terrence and Pierre were glaring at each other, and there I was, looking like a statue between them. Neither of them wanted to let me go, and it was so awkward. I caught Lexi's eye and gave her the signal to help me. She acted like she sprained her ankle and purposefully fell on Pierre. Lexi then winked at me. A helicopter flew us to a beautiful place, and while we were enjoying the marvelous view beneath us, I felt his hand holding mine. It gave me an electric feeling. I'd never felt this way before. After our helicopter date, he brought me to this Korean restaurant and made me taste their delicious specialties. We fought over the bill, and he won and paid for it. I then gave the waiter a tip, a key to a car. That's very generous of you, but I prefer giving tips like this. He gave the waiter a business card and told him that his secretary would assist him in enrolling in the school of his choice. Education is more important, Blair. Oh, he was wiser than I thought. It was almost midnight when we strolled in the park. When I complained about my high heels hurting my feet, he gave me a piggyback ride. This man had never failed to surprise me. We were inseparable over the next few weeks, while Lexi always ended up distracting Pierre. One day, Terrence was teaching me Korean when Lexi kept calling me. I was enjoying our session, so Lexi kept calling me. I was enjoying our session, so I ignored her calls. Later that day, I was on my way to my locker when I saw Francesca's dog again. It started chasing me and I ran into the nearest room. While I was catching my breath, I was surprised to see Pierre in there too. Bonjour, mademoiselle. Miss me? Before I could react, he suddenly kissed me. I was so shocked that I couldn't move. I slapped him and walked out to look for Lexi, but I couldn't find her anywhere. She wasn't answering my calls either. Where was she when I needed her? The next day, everyone was looking at me like I'd done something terrible, which I apparently did because an anonymous account had posted a picture of me kissing Pierre on Instagram. No, it was all a mistake. I asked Lexi about it, but she was so mad at me. What did I do? That pervert made a move on me. You weren't there when I needed you because you only care about Terrence now. Lexi, I'm so sorry. Please don't do this to me. You're my best friend. No, Blair, I'm just your personal assistant. Blair, I'm just your personal assistant. Oh, not anymore, because I'm resigning. I was crying as she left me. I looked for Terrence and found him in the music room. Terrence, it's not what you think. Let me explain. I don't deal with cheaters. I tried to convince him, but my heart broke when he said, "Get lost, Blair. I don't want to see you again." I was totally miserable after that. My best friend and boyfriend were ignoring me, and everyone was calling me a cheater. One day, I passed out in my room because I hadn't eaten all day. When I opened my eyes, the first thing I saw was Lexi. Thank God you finally woke up. You had me so worried. Are you okay? How can I be okay when you hate me now? Oh my God, stop. I'm not used to seeing you cry. Lexi then told me that she overheard Francesca and Pierre talking about their plan to set me up. I knew it. I need to talk to Terrence. She then looked away and said, "He went back to Korea this morning." What? Are you freaking serious? I just wanted to sleep and hope that it was all a dream. The next day, I woke up to Lexi's scream. She pulled me out of bed and dragged me outside. There was an unfamiliar jet landing outside. A handsome boy then stepped out, and I swear, my heart jumped with joy when I realized who it was. I ran up to him and hugged him. He apologized for doubting me and for not telling me about him leaving. "I just needed to finish my surprise for you." He then showed me an app on his phone. "You can download this from the App Store. I've specially developed this for dyslexics." Oh my God, this is amazing. I love you, Terrence. I love you more, my Blair. I was so over the moon when he finally kissed me. Another cute Korean guy came out and Lexi looked like she just peed her pants. Terrence introduced him as Andrew, his brother, and Lexi started jumping in excitement. Thank God you have a brother. Terrence and I just laughed as we held each other's hands.